So this is a shot in one of our bamboo forests. And what I love about this shot, aside from all the, I love lighting so much. But the volumetric haze and the kind of nice translucency on the leaves, all of that stuff makes you feel real.
Yeah.
But it's also trying to get everything in the frame to move. That's something that we're trying to do. Like just you start making a game like this, and you look at an old Kurosawa film or something like that. They have a good documentary called Composing Movement about a still samurai with the world around him just moving. And I love this frame because it just showcases that.
That really comes through, especially in the trailer that we saw at the showcase. You can really see everything in the frame is moving. It's so just alive. Everything feels alive. It's really just an amazing job you guys are doing.
That's the reason we opened up with that shot. You know, it's exactly what we want people to see when we first debut the game. So.
And what's amazing is this is just one small little slice of the world that you guys are building at Sucker Punch. It's unreal.
Yeah, that's
Shall we move to the next one?
Yeah, please.
Oh my God! What? Come on, man!
I kind of forgot the order, so like I'm just going to be shocked each time. Like, this is beautiful. I got a couple of things I'd love to talk about here. One of which is when we went to Japan. We went to Tsushima Island. And we saw, I personally saw some of the most beautiful sunsets and sun breaks, and just the sky was really evocative. And, and that actually is something that some of our last games had as well, if you go back and look at like Infamous. So now that this game has a dynamic time of day, that made it very challenging because you can't just paint this beautiful skybox. You have to really orchestrate some tech to make these kinds of scenes come true. And this scene does that in spades. But it also has this, something else here. There's a sense of adventure. There's these shrines and places that you're going to be able to get to and go up to on top of high mountaintops. This is a high point in the game where you'll be able to actually visit and go to. So
cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned lighting before, and it really comes through. I think in almost every one of these scenes, the light is just kind of one of the focus. Really the core pillars of what makes each shot look so beautiful.
Yeah, light. We put a lot of energy and artwork into the way that we light our games, and especially true for this one.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next shot.
Do it.
Wow.
Look, get out of here. Just leave. Get out.
Wow.
I cannot take how beautiful this game is.
There's a lot of great things going on here. This is showcasing a variety of biomes. Obviously, this is not a bamboo forest. So there are places in the game that you get to that will be quite different than other parts of the game in terms of like the vegetation and the foliage that you'll see kind of around you. We want a lot of variation. We want people to feel like they can remember this place because it's extremely different than the other place. In this particular place, you see more of like a golden lake kind of feel. So it's another good example. Also, I'm very fond of the sky that's going on here. Another really good example, procedural sun breaks and breaks in the sky. Really feel like it's kind of foreboding, but it's also got a moment of beauty to it. So that's intense.
And the water as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you touched on that earlier, but you have the birds coming through as well. I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, if you look really closely, you can see like insects kind of flittering above the water there and everything.
Yeah.
I thought they were birds. They're probably insects.
Maybe.
Maybe both.
Yeah, just gorgeous.
Oh, the insects. Yeah, that's our effects artist. So, yeah.
That looks incredible. Cool. Let's move on to the next shot.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, this area. Part of what we're trying to do with Ghost of Tsushima is, it's very easy when you go and create. I mean, it's a photoreal-based engine. The technology lends itself to making very photorealistic-looking scenes. But our goal here is it's very easy to just add more stuff in. Like you could have this purple, flower little grove and just add weeds and more bushes and more just trees and like make it a little bit less manicured, and maybe it's more photoreal. But it's very easy to add more on. But actually, as artists, I think it's really hard to be very minimal. And our goal with the art direction for the game and in the environments is to be minimal in that way, so that it's a little bit more lasting and you remember it. And this is true for if you watch the demo, the Pampas Valley that you see. it's not Pampas Valley with tons of trees and weeds and lots of other things. It's a pretty large sheet of this like white color, or the end with the red leaves.
Oh,
it's very intentional to be. If you can be a little bit more minimal, people will remember it longer. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I noticed. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, is it difficult for you as an artist and you as a team to sort of exercise that great restraint that you're describing, to kind of hold back when you feel like you need to do more?
Yeah, actually, it is really hard. I mean, you want you want it to be impactful, so the urgency is like to just add more. But it is quite hard. But it's a practice thing, and we're getting better at it. We've been working on it for a while, so we've been getting better at it and better at it, and we're going to keep getting better at it. And we've been working with some of our J Studio partners, and that they comment on stuff like that, and it's really helpful. So
this is unreal. I notice you're making extensive use of depth of field in these shots, and that seems like it would be a really hard thing to emulate in kind of a live environment like a video game. What's it like implementing depth of field into the game and into these shots?
Yeah, so these shots are taken in our world at real locations. And we spruce them up with our cutscene kind of editor a little bit. But like, for example, you don't want to be just running around the world with depth of field on all the time. Sure. I mean, it's pretty. I've done it.
Yeah.
But there are areas that you can do it, and it makes it look really amazing. Like in the duel, we know you're in this mode, and you're fighting you're in this thing where you're fighting this other person, and we can do some really subtle tricks with the camera to make the scene feel more powerful. Add a little depth of field on it. The beginning of the duel, the camera starts a little higher up, and that's not a very dramatic shot. But as the duel goes on longer and longer and longer, it's not rotating all over the place. You have full control over it. But if you just slowly pull the camera down a little bit so it's more on the plane, it's way more impactful.
That's another area where I think you probably need to practice restraint, because when I was first learning how to take photos, I do some photography stuff on the side. I was always tempted to just crank the depth of field, just destroy the background all the time. But it's a little better if you kind of like find the right balance there, right?
My team keeps me in check, because I am the environment art lead right there. But so it's a thing. I do it all the time. So
cool. I think we have a couple more shots here. Let's move on. Here we go.
Yeah. So this, the game is about an invading army. The Mongols invaded, and so they all have places and locations in the world. And it's a little, we chose this one at night in the dynamic time of day, and put it here at night, just to showcase that throughout the world, it's not just. Our goal is to have this sharp, beautiful imagery, like this really just lush landscape of places that hopefully people will want to go see, and remember, in high contrast with areas of more death, a little bit more terror, and a little bit more, combat and things like that.
Beautiful.
Cool.
I'm like spellbound.
Yeah, I'm just
like
looking at all these shots. I stare at this giant screen back here. It looks really good on the
Yeah, no, I keep staring over here. Thank you.
I do have, I don't want to get too far away from the world building that you guys are working on, but I'm actually personally curious if you can speak to this.
Yeah.
If not, no problem. Creating framed, beautiful moments is so important in your game, but you also want to give the player control of the camera and be able to navigate an environment.
Yeah.
Is there a way to kind of balance out enabling player control and kind of direction of the scene, but still preserve the artistic vision that you have?
Yeah, it's something that I think we work on a lot. I mean, if you've ever played a Sucker Punch game, they are very fluid. And that means you have to spend time on camera and controls and all that. So while we have this incredibly ambitious, artistic goal, cinematic goal, we have to make sure that it's, marries very well with the gameplay. And that means you have to spend a lot of time iterating. So just for the horse ride, we put that horse ride in there for a lot of reasons in the trailer, one of which is just, I think it's just beautiful. And we want to show traversal and all that. But that one, for example, you don't just get for free. Like, it was a lot of iterations on the exact camera angle and how the camera works. I mean, if anyone's ever worked on a camera settings for a horse, it's extremely hard. Like, how much do you have it, rock and rotate?
Yeah.
If you can do a lot, and then suddenly you get sick or something, or you can't see the horizon. You put depth of field on and motion blur, and it's great when you look at it, but if you're playing, it's like maybe you don't see in your peripheral. So it's a lot of teams, gameplay teams, and cinematography folks working together to make sure that those scenes are maximally beautiful but extremely functional.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're at a stage in video games where you kind of need to have like a director of photography working on these games as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we have like a, myself works on it, but with Billy here, I think I've got a chance to talk to him yet, but he as well. Like there's a couple people here that are, Nate cares a lot about camera, and especially game camera. He's really good at it. So we have quite a team that, kind of hit it from a bunch of different angles.
Great.
Just
I think,
all the more reason to be excited about Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's move on to what I think is our final shot. Here we go.
Yeah, so this is the DOF right up front there. But this is another one that I think, it showcases that this is a harsh time. It's not just a walk through the beautiful purple flower area. There's a lot of adventure, and there's a lot of, just exploring this world that we're crafting. But there is a reason that you're the hero in this story, because there's been a lot of destruction, and you're trying to save the people of this land. So we wanted to show this off as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, look at everything that's happening in this shot. You've got obviously everything on fire, but you've got all these tiny particles, the little embers coming out, not to mention the incredibly blurred foreground. Everything, I mean, there's attention to detail there. Everything is still moving there. How many layers are there here? How insane is this to try and put together from an art direction standpoint?
Yeah, it's I think that some of the harder things is